Hello and welcome to today's webinar, Find Your Audience, Tech-Driven Targeting. My name is Ricky Bijlani. I am the Senior Director of Marketing here at AUDIENCEX. I just want to thank you all for taking a little bit of your time today to join us. I'm going to give this just a couple more minutes to let people finish joining us. And while I do, I'll go over a couple of quick questions, a couple quick notes before we get started. First, we will indeed be sending out a recording of this webinar to all registrants afterwards, so everyone can look out for that soon. We'd love to hear from you. We'll be taking some time to answer any questions that you may have at the end of today's presentation. So if you do have any, you can go ahead and submit them at any time via the Zoom's Q&A feature at the bottom of their interface. We'll also have some poll questions during the presentation. For those of us that are just joining us, welcome. So today our expert will share an in-depth look at how to effectively reach your audience. Here to guide us all through a little bit of that today, I am pleased to introduce our presenter from AUDIENCEX, Amanda Wallingford, who is our Programmatic Director. Amanda, thank you very much for being here today and hosting this discussion. I know it's going to be great. So with that, I'm delighted to go ahead and hand off the show to you. Before diving in, if you can briefly introduce yourself, including your role and background.
Thank you, Ricky. Hello, everyone. My name is Amanda Wallingford, and I'm the Programmatic Director here at AUDIENCEX. I've been here since May. I also have a very diverse work history, so I've been in the industry for about 8 years now. Previously, I worked at Bank of America. I have worked as an automotive service manager, and I've also worked on the Cortana project back with Microsoft. I think it is very important to use how we kind of our prior skills, our prior experience, our past, to really dive into how we target. So before I really get going into this webinar, I'm going to tell you a little bit more about myself. As you can see here, this is my picture. There's Grand Canyon, which I visited this last weekend. My current view there on the river, and my motorhome and Toad, which is the truck, pulling our side-by-side. So I am a tech nomad. I have a home base in Washington State, and we kind of travel all over the US, definitely get out of gloomy Washington in the winter and then spend our summers there. Why I'm telling you this is because I live very efficiently. Kind of our motto is everything has to have two purposes, and how that can really translate into audience targeting. So I use my background of kind of my minimalistic lifestyle. Do you really need this? Do I really need 2 pans? For everybody else, like, how many coffee mugs do you have? Do you have a favorite? Do you really need all those others? Maybe you might need a couple, but do you need 20? You can kind of think of these things as you're thinking of setting up audiences, who to target. Really bring this into your own life and look at it from that kind of perspective, because our perspectives of what we have experienced, what we see, and what we have learned in our past lives in this industry and or not, really can shape how we think. And it's all about thinking outside the box. All right. Today, we are going to go over current targeting strategies, data and emerging tech, best practices, looking forward into the future, and I will leave some time for some audience Q&A at the end. During the presentation, please use your chats, ask any questions you have, get those ready, and we'll be waiting. You wait till the end to throw them in, that's okay too, but feel free to throw them in at any time. We're gonna have some fun today. All right, targeting strategies. So programmatic advertising is a blending of creativity, logic, perception, methodology, and curiosity. There are many ways to target audiences, and there's no right answer. The goal is to find an audience that will engage with your ad. The way we do that is to ask ourselves a variety of questions, to test, and to learn. I'm here today to help spark your creativity and curiosity and give you my thoughts on tech-driven targeting. Before we start, let's have a little fun, because I also like to have fun. All right, some icebreaker polls. You will shortly see a poll up on the screen. Can you tell me, what is the first programmatic targeting tactic in the 1990s? Throw up your answers. We'll give you just a few moments to choose between behavioral targeting. Was it contextual targeting or was it retargeting? What was the pioneering tactic? Just a few more moments and we will see how everybody answered, and I will give you the correct answer. All right. We have 33% saying behavior targeting and 67% saying contextual targeting. The 67% is correct. Great job. All right, let's go into one more. We're having some fun with this. This is one of my favorite all-time trivia questions. The first banner ad appeared in 1994 on hotwire.com, where which company asked, "Have you ever clicked your mouse right here? You will." Was it General Electric, AT&T, or Coca-Cola? Give you a few moments to decide. All right, get those answers in. We'll be seeing the results here momentarily. All right. The first banner ad appeared in 1994. I have 67% saying AT&T and a tie of 17% each for GE and Coca-Cola. I have one smart audience. AT&T is correct. Great job, everybody. All right, now let's talk about some current targeting tactics. These are going to be very familiar. Obviously, we have demographic targeting, which includes age, gender, income, etc. Behavior targeting. This is where past online behavior, such as websites visited. Contextual targeting aligns with relevant site content by either keyword or category. And of course, retargeting focuses on users who have previously interacted with your brand. Now, these are some questions to ask yourself when choosing what audiences you're going to find. So let's start with demographic targeting. Does your product or service serve a specific demographic? Does it make sense to add demographic targeting? For higher education, maybe it does. You're not going to want to really target under 18, probably not over a certain age either. So yes, higher education most likely does. But what about cotton socks? Really anybody? I mean, which one of us doesn't have at least some cotton socks in our drawers? So that one probably not, doesn't really make sense. How about assisted living center? This is definitely targeted for a specific demo, but what we need to continue to think about is that others may be researching on behalf of those going into the assisted living center. So we don't want to miss our audience because who we're targeting may not be the person that is looking to buy our product or service. So always keep that in mind. Behavior targeting. Are you ready? This behavior targeting now is one of the most common targeting tactics. But we need to ask ourselves, is this info up to date? Do you know how often the data is refreshed? An example might be like home buying. Home buying sometimes can take a long time. They might be looking for a long time, but then bam, they're done. No more home buying. We bought our house. We're good to go. Or something like an enthusiast, a coffee enthusiast, or a Star Wars enthusiast. Things like that probably don't change at all. Those are great ways to use behavior targeting. Next, we have contextual. So contextual is great because it's not only easy to be transition into cookieless, but it's also up-to-date information. It's what your audience is looking at in the moment. What you can talk about though, and ask yourself is, are you targeting negative keywords? It's often overlooked. In fact, exclusions are often overlooked in all tactics. The exclusions can save you money and can be another great way to target who you want by focusing on who you don't want to serve ads to. It's kind of like switching that flip. Get your brain to think, who don't I want to target is sometimes easier and may narrow the pool instead of who do you want to target. And of course, retargeting, our bottom of the funnel centerpiece. Keep asking yourself, are you using retargeting in the best way? There's nothing more annoying than seeing ads for a high-priced item that you just bought that will probably last 10 years. Say a car, for example. Not many people go through cars quickly. So how are you using retargeting? Is it best to include it? Is it best to exclude part of it? What can you do? Focus in on what makes sense and how to use it properly. All right. Creativity versus excess. Again, things to ask yourself. So people are not one-dimensional. Think of yourself. Start applying labels. Who are you? What do you do? What is your role in your friends and family? What are your hobbies? What are your interests? You're not just one thing. You're layers of everything. You might be, or I'll take myself. I am a wife. I'm an aunt. I am director at work. I am a teammate. I am a billiards enthusiast. I am a high energy impacts. I like adrenaline rush activities, things like that. So think of your audience as well. They're not just one thing, they're multiple things. How can you use that to target the most effectively? With all that said, don't overcomplicate things. Simplicity is a key advantage that some people overlook. By adding too many audiences or breaking down audiences individually or excessively, it can actually be more harmful than productive. Using AI, which we will talk about a lot here soon, if we break that down, it might give it too much data, but not enough spend to really be able to optimize efficiently. Same goes for our human traders as well. Same thing, keep it as simple as possible to get the most effective, target what you need, and go from there. Another thing that's overlooked is programmatic plays a huge role in path to conversion. Connecting with other teams to understand audiences, what audiences are used from the social side, from the search side. That's going to be very, it's going to be great to look at. Communication is always key on this. So keep talking with your team, keep dropping ideas. It's great to connect with teams at least once a week. Find out what works, what doesn't work. Go from there. Share your insights. All right, we're going to take a step a little out, probably not what you were expecting, but we're going to talk a little bit about unconscious bias today. So if you haven't heard much about unconscious bias, it's a social stereotype about certain groups of people that individuals form outside their own conscious awareness. Everyone holds unconscious beliefs about various social and identity groups, and these biases stem from one's tendency to organize social worlds by categorizing. What you can ask yourself is, how does unconscious bias play a part in targeting for campaigns? Are we leaving out audiences because we have a certain picture in our own mind that may not represent the full picture? And what can we do to be inclusive? Let's take a moment. If you're willing, go ahead and close your eyes and clear your mind. What is the first picture that pops into your mind when I say electrical engineer or professor? Possibly, did you see a male, maybe even an older male? It's just kind of what automatically comes up, perhaps. Or maybe that's not what you've seen. What did you see? Go through these kind of little exercises on how this can work. Let's say if I'm targeting for an opera house. What do you see in your mind when you picture an opera aficionado? Or I'm targeting for a national banking client. Did you see a specific type of person pop into your head on who to focus on? So this is the importance of leveraging research tools to validate who the audience is versus who we or the client think the audience is. It's important to just kind of keep it in mind. There is so much more. I'm talking very just, kind of very slight on the topic of unconscious bias, but there are many great books, sites, and TED Talks out there talking about it to find out more information. What I would really just like to leave you with today about this topic is that the first step is understanding what it is and how it plays a part in our everyday lives and our audience targeting. Just keep it in mind. All right, so kind of a recap. What are the most effective ways to find your audience? Utilizing first-party data is always great. If we have that opportunity, definitely do so. Leveraging third-party data is a great way to find it. Applying cookieless solutions, embracing AI and machine learning questions. Be creative. Think outside the box. Be mindful of unconscious bias. Don't overcomplicate. Ask yourself if it makes sense. It's a lot to keep track of, but we also have tools to help us get there. For example, we can do green PMPs now to be more sustainable, or we can focus on minority-owned inventory to be more ethical. We can even target inventory with more attention-based metrics to increase viewability and retention. Use these tech advancements to buy smarter. All right, going into data and emerging tech. Artificial intelligence. It's always been a part of programmatic advertising. Our ad platforms use algorithms to allocate spend, bid, adapt targeting in milliseconds, all without human intervention. What is new, though, and what keeps evolving is AI itself. So we've gone from AI programs that can sense and reason, they can act, and they can adapt to machine learning that can improve over time and when exposed to more data. We continue on into deep learning, which is multi-layered neural networks learning from a vast amounts of data to provide us enhanced data analysis, decision-making, and automation. Going further, machine learning is a branch of AI which uses the algorithms to collect, sort, and identify patterns of human behavior. In our industry, we use it to predict audience behavior and future actions. Some benefits: it's cookieless. It can analyze large and complex data sets. We can create custom audiences with it. We can engage with lapsed customers to re-engage or buy our product or service. We can use it to optimize cross-sell opportunities, and we can identify potential opportunities. AI is an important tool in our tool belt. Targeted audience selection. AI algorithms can analyze vast amounts of data to identify the most relevant audience for your ads. By understanding user behaviors, interests, and demographics, AI can help and create more precise segments. Optimizing bidding strategies. AI can automate and optimize in real-time bidding, can make decisions on ad impressions to buy at what price, what's the likelihood of the desired outcome. Are we looking for those clicks, conversions? AI can do all this in milliseconds. It can help create personalized ad content. By analyzing the past interactions, it can determine which types of images, messages, or calls to action that a specific user is most likely to respond to. Predictive analytics. It can predict future trends, consumer behaviors by analyzing that historical data. This can help us anticipate market changes, understand emerging consumer needs, and adjust strategies accordingly. Fraud detection and prevention, always a huge topic. The AI algorithms can identify patterns indicative of fraudulent activity, such as click fraud. It helps ensure that our spend is being utilized effectively. It can also help with an analysis and reporting, real time. Its insights and recommendations can help us improve what we're looking at, can help improve to our performance goals, and it can include identifying underperforming ads to suggest some adjustments. Dynamic creative optimization, or DCO. This is a fun one. It can automatically adjust creative elements of ads like images and text layout in real time based on user action, ensuring the most effective version of the ad is always in use. And voice and visual search. So as that becomes more popular, AI can help us optimize ads for these new search formats, ensuring our ads remain relevant as user behavior evolves. There is a lot to it. And I'm not saying that we can't, as traders and people and marketing specialists, do this, but let's utilize this to make us work smarter and not harder. Here at AUDIENCEX, we actually use predictive audiences. So one avenue utilizes machine learning to create representations of consumer behavior from data sets to make high quality predictions about future actions. The data set contains 300 million opted in and fully consented consumers with petabytes of signals across trillions of dollars of spend. Another avenue leads us down the ID-free path. This technology uses a neural network map called MODI, or Map of the Internet, that uses a model to predict the value of an impression without knowing anything about the user. I've just thrown a lot at you, so let's have some fun again. All right, it is poll time, quiz time again. I just mentioned petabyte. What is a petabyte? How big is it? Is it 1 million gigabytes? Is it 100 terabytes? Or is it 1 trillion bytes? Let me know your answer. What is a petabyte? And get your answers in. We will see results here shortly, and I will give you the correct answer. All right, let's take a look. All right, we had 60% say 100 terabytes, 30% said 1 million gigabytes, and 10% said 1 trillion bytes. This answer was new to me too when I was reading through it. And the answer is 1 million gigabytes. So great job to the 30% that guessed that. 1 million gigabytes is actually also equal to 1 quadrillion bytes. Or the easiest way to think about it, it is a 1 with 15 zeros behind it. That is huge. We can definitely not process that information as mere humans, but we can utilize that artificial intelligence to help us. All right, let's talk about targeting best practices. So we've talked about what we're currently using. We're talking about what most of us may be using AI machine learning already. As we continue to learn, what are some of the targeting best practices for this? Let's take a look. All right, I'd like to talk about targeting efficiencies first. Use your audience information to cast the net, but it is important to remember to not stop adjusting the net. Refining your audience will not only help you narrow down the field, but audiences are always changing as well. So some might fall out, by others might be new additions. Always continue to look at your audiences, see what makes sense, and it's okay, which moves us to the next one of it's okay to pause or remove what's working. Even if it's worked in the past, doesn't mean it's not working now. By just pausing out some audiences or making notes, doesn't mean you can't add them back in if it's not working. But don't be afraid of change, which we'll get to in a minute. First, we're going to talk about embracing new technology. So we just went over a ton of things on AI, how it's helping us, all of the new tech that is coming up from artificial intelligence, all the new tactics that's coming up, certain things that's going to make us smarter. Our industry changes all the time. Embrace it. Keep up to date on industry news. Test those new ideas. Be adaptable. This is one of my favorites. The only constant in this industry is change. Don't be afraid of change. And test, refine, repeat. It's what our jobs are all about. Testing, seeing what works, seeing what doesn't. In our line, failing a test is not necessarily a bad thing. As long as you're learning something from that test, you're learning, it is good to know. What's even better, that next step is sharing results with your teammates. Hey, I did this, it didn't work. One of your teammates might come back and say, hey, I did this on a different vertical, it worked great. Use that information to collaborate together, put it down in your knowledge portals, find out what works, what doesn't, continue, and then start all over again, repeat. All right, there we go. All right, what is the most important thing? We have talked a lot about AI, but AI doesn't work without us. So let's talk about the human connection. So why AI is an essential tool. The human connection to our campaigns is still an integral part of programmatic. Sensibility, understanding the full picture, and knowing your client are just a few ways where AI can't compare to that human element. Data quality integration. You have to make sure that you have access to the high quality, accurate, and relevant data. Having your eyes on this is highly important. Audience segmentation and insights. You can use AI to segment your audience into meaningful groups based on their behavior, demographics, interests, other factors, but it cannot uncover nuanced insights about these segments, which is where you come in for more precise targeting. Privacy and compliance. All that little fine print, that's great for AI to use, but remember, it's not perfect either. Humans have made AI, so make sure it is adhering to data privacy regulations such as GDPR, CCPA. You need to also make sure that it's respecting user privacy and using the data ethically. Transparency in how data is collected is absolutely critical. All right, real-time bidding efficiencies. Leverage that AI for your RTB strategies. It can analyze numerous variables in milliseconds to make those informed decisions, but you want to make sure that, again, you're keeping your eyes on it to make sure it is maximizing our ROI and it makes sense. Cross-channel coordination. Use AI to harmonize your advertising efforts across different channels, across different teams with your search and social teams, but it's up to you to communicate that. And that, again, is where the human element comes in at. Communication is always key. Testing and optimization. Again, AI is absolutely wonderful at helping us do this, but we need to make sure that it is optimizing to what we want to see. Is it kicking out things that might not be logical in our sense, with us knowing the full picture, with us having that historical knowledge, with just seeing the real world? Keep all those in mind when you're looking at AI optimizations. Stay updated with AI advancements. Of course, I can't stress this one enough. It's rapidly evolving. Keeping up to date with it is going to help a lot. And balancing AI with human oversight. What we've been talking about this whole slide is, while AI can handle many tasks, human oversight is crucial for strategy, creative development, and ethical considerations. The combined approach ensures that campaigns resonate on a human level while leveraging that AI efficiency. All right, what do we have to look forward to? Think about everything. If you watch a movie, even if it's, from the early 2000s, which really doesn't sound all that long ago, at least to me. But think about how long we've come. You watch an older movie and you're seeing them use flip phones or things that we have long since taken for granted in our everyday lives. So what's the next 5 or 10 years look like? Well, I would say that there's going to be increased use of AI and machine learning. It's going to become more sophisticated. It's going to drive improvements around targeting and ad personalization. Of course, real-time bidding efficiencies. There will be greater emphasis on data privacy. Think about how far we've come with that in just the last few years. We're going to need to adapt to stricter data usage standards, and it may lead to more reliance on first-party data and contextual targeting. advancements in predictive analytics. It's going to become more refined, enabling us to anticipate market trends, consumer behaviors, and effectiveness of ad placements more accurately. One of my favorites, expansions of programmatic channels. So we're going to start expanding beyond traditional web and mobile. CTV's been on fire the last few years. Digital out of home is coming quickly. We're seeing a huge increase on that. Audio platforms is big. And wearable devices. We haven't even talked about that yet. But as wearable devices become more popularized, you can bet they're going to find a way to put ads on those as well. Integration of augmented reality and virtual reality. So as AR and VR technologies emerge or mature, programmatic advertising is going to find the innovative ways to leverage these platforms as well for immersive ad experiences. Won't that be fun? And blockchain technology, a fun little path to go down all on its own. If you don't know a lot about blockchain, it's fascinating to learn more about. But it's going to be able to, or I should say, could be used to bring more transparency and security to programmatic transactions, reducing fraud, always a good thing, and ensuring more reliable tracking and reporting. A few more things that we could see in the future. Voice search optimization. How often do we all talk to voice assistants now? Soon, they may be telling us, hey, you sound like you're getting hangry. Have you had your Snickers? Who knows? We'll see. Cross-device and cross-channel marketing. There's going to be a greater device on creating seamless experiences across various devices and channels, necessitating sophisticated tracking and attribution models. It's been a while since I've looked, but I remember the last time I looked, it was every person is connected to about 9 devices. So now I'm going to have to go back and look to see how many we're up to now. I didn't believe it when I heard it the first time, and then I counted up mine. I'm like, yeah. And now if I think about it, I'm probably over that. So that's a big one. Interactive and responsive ads. So advances in technology is going to allow for more interactiveness, more responsive ads. It's going to allow for real-time personalizations based on our user interactions. Ethical AI use. Again, we've talked about this several times already today, but it's going to become more central to programmatic advertising with increased focus, which is a great thing. And it's, again, we built the AI. We need to ensure that the algorithms are unbiased and fair. 5G technology is still rolling out. It's going to enable faster data processing and loading times, leading to more efficient ad delivery and potentially new formats for leverage to increase the speed. And then, of course, the continued rise of e-commerce ads. It'll likely expand into more programmatic advertising and create more opportunities for brands to reach consumers in shopping environments. One example is the like the grocery store at Walgreens and certain frozen food sections where you can now see what's behind them. If you get closer, it'll show you there. But then if you're too far away, there's ads. So that's another one it's out there already, but we don't see a lot of it. We can currently buy. There's not a lot to buy out yet, but it's building. So we will continue to see that probably sooner rather than later. All right, well, that kind of brings us to the end. I hope you really enjoyed my thoughts on the emerging tech and ad-driven technology. I'm going to turn it back to Ricky, give myself a moment to take a breath, and then I'm happy to answer any questions that you all have for me.
Great, thank you, Amanda. So we are in our Q&A section here. So we do have some questions. I'll go ahead and tee that up for you, Amanda. First question, how do you navigate targeting in industries with more stringent regulations?
That's a great question. Yes, sensitive campaigns, things like gambling, alcohol, cannabis, politics. We're going to be seeing a lot of that in the next year. All of those definitely have a lot of rules and regulations that you need to follow. The best way, again, is to stay on top of these. Reach out to your platform vendors, find out what kind of rules that you're looking at, and just kind of ask questions. Again, communication is key. Find out what you need to do. There is availability to run ads in all of those, and there's always a way. You just need to ask them more questions, find out which platforms are going to serve it the best. Be very upfront, be open. Ask them, hey, do you run this? Can we send creatives first through? There might be restrictions on, well, we can run it, but we can't show usage of certain things, like maybe with a cannabis or something. So sexual health and awareness is also a big one that's out there. So yeah, where there is a will, there is definitely a way. Find out who can run those. We have a lot of platforms that we run them on currently. So just ask some questions and learn kind of the integral rules and regs, and then you'll be good to go.
And can you talk a little bit about geo-targeting and how that works?
Yeah, another one of my favorites. We didn't even get into geo-targeting. As I mentioned earlier, we just talked about a few tactics, but geo-targeting is definitely another one that we're starting to see pick back up on. There are a lot of different ways to geo-target. There are vendors that can help just kind of target smaller audiences. There's platforms that are amazing at this, that can target certain places. Maybe it's a commercial business, or maybe it's their competitors even. Where can you target? So it uses their mobile technology, pings their device, sends you those ads. Then it can even retarget for usually up to 30 days on where you've been. Have you visited an event? Event retargeting is a fun one. You can kind of target like a specific area, reserve those ads, conferences, festivals, things like that. So personally, I really like geo-targeting. It's kind of more of a niche one and doesn't work in all instances, but it can be a lot of fun to set up and to run, and you can gain a lot of knowledge and insight on who your audience is, what they're doing, and where they're coming from.
Great, thank you, Amanda. So that ends our Q&A section. So thank you, Amanda, for participating, and thank you everyone for attending today's session. We'll be sending a recording of this webinar to all registrants afterwards, so everyone can look out for that soon. But if you do have any questions, afterwards, feel free, like I said, to connect with us on social media or through email. So thank you, everybody.
Thanks all. Have a great day.